Welcome back to Nerf Science. Today we're going to be looking at a variety of ammunitions that are currently available on Amazon and running them through a battery of tests to see if we can find one that is way better than the others or see if any are way worse than any others. We'll be doing a variety of tests: range, accuracy, FPS, weight, consistency, cost. We'll be looking at all of these, and then you'll be able to take that data and decide if one of them just really stands out for you and that's the one you really want to use. It should be interesting. It's going to be a lot of numbers, and I will try to make it at least somewhat entertaining. There will be a lot of firing, but first let's take a look at what we have, and we'll talk about the costs first. So up first we have, in the red, we have Regimodal. I'm not sure how they want that pronounced. It was $19.99 for a pack of 100, so roughly 20 cents per round. In orange, we have Headshot, which is $18.95 for a pack of 110. So that actually brings the overall cost down a little bit to 17 cents per round. We have also in orange, we have Dart Zone, official Dart Zone rounds, which are $19.99 for a pack of 100. So again, 20 cents per round. At the most expensive, we of course have Nerf Rival ammunition in the yellow, which came in at $26.85 for 100, so roughly 27 cents per round. In green, we have something called HH Queen was the brand. They are $11.50 for 100, so just under 12 cents a round, and pretty sure we're going to discover there's a reason for that. In blue, we have XC Source, which I had not heard of or tried before. They're coming in at $14.99 for a pack of 100, so 15 cents a round. The white is E-Kind. I didn't even know they made rival ammo. $15.99 for a pack of 100, so right around 16 cents per round. And finally, in gray, we had Little Valentine, which I also didn't know they had started making rival ammunition. Shows you how well I've been keeping up with the rival ammo market. They were $16.80 for a pack of 100, so right around a little under 17 cents a round. So obviously, no surprise there that Nerf is the most expensive. Like I said, I think we're going to learn real quick why these were the cheapest, but we have a couple that are right there around 15, 16, 17 cents a round, which is a fairly good price if they are comparable performance. So obviously some of these, if you buy them in larger bulk, the price goes down. Some of them, when you jumped to 200 rounds instead of 100 rounds, the second 100 rounds was about 50% off. And it went further down the higher you went. So obviously bulk is better, and obviously looking for deals or sales or clearance or what have you is generally going to be better. But that's what these were costing, and obviously there were more options than just these. These were the first 8 I grabbed. I was looking for as many different colors as I could get. And some of these do come in a variety of colors, and some only come in one color, and what have you. But I wanted the big names. I wanted Nerf, I wanted Dart Zone, I wanted Headshot, I wanted E-Kind and Little Valentine when I discovered those. And then these three were the ones that I had never even heard of before. So that was kind of the random sampling that I got. Up next, we're going to take a look at weight and consistency. So I'm going to weigh 10 of them at once and get the average, and then I will weigh those 10 individually and get the deviation, and I'll also check them for structural consistency. How hard or soft are they compared to each other? So we will start with our red ones. Not a terrible amount of deviation. Structurally, they are actually very consistent. They're a little bit on the harder side, I would say, but I haven't found any in this sample that were incredibly light. There weren't any that just immediately squish completely in your fingers. The edge where the seam is could be a little bit cleaner, but not terrible. So that's the first one. Let's take a look at Headshot. The seams could again be a little bit cleaner, but they are not bad. There is a reason that this is the ammo that Out of Darts recommends and carries, and it is the ammo that I use in tier. So, so far so good. Let's take a look at the Dart Zone ammo. And structurally, they are amazingly consistent. There is a little bit of difference from one to the next, but the molding that they have is a completely different pattern than all of the others. It's a triangle pattern instead of the golf ball dimple pattern, and they are very, very consistent. So, lovely. All right, let's take a look at Nerf. A little bit more deviation than the last two, but not bad. Consistency-wise, as far as structure, they are also very good. This particular batch, I haven't seen any that are extremely hard or that are extremely soft, so not too bad. Now we get to the fun one. Alright, so the HH Queen rounds, which are the ones that I thought were going to have the most interesting numbers, 10 of them came in at 7.91 grams. So, less than half the weight of any of the other rounds. They are, however, arguably the most consistent, because they went from 0.86 down to 0.72. So, less variance in any of the others, and structurally, they are very consistent. They are just very, very light. And we will see what that does in later tests. Structurally, they are, again, a little bit stouter, but fairly consistent. Train? So they definitely have the most deviation that I've seen so far. They are also probably the hardest ones that I've seen so far. Now they also have the glow-in-the-dark. Now, they are glow-in-the-dark, which means the coating might be a little bit different than it is on any of the others, and that could have something to do with that, but anyway, on to the last one. They are a little bit softer, I think, than most of the other ones. But they are very consistent, and the weights were fairly consistent. So they also have some of the cleaner seams. So that's really quite nice. Alright, so here's the numbers on that if it means anything to you. I may talk about it after I've put it through a spreadsheet and looked at it all. Alright, let's fling some foam. Right, and now for the FIPS. So I'm going to be putting 10 rounds of each ammo type through 4 different blasters, a stock Springer, a stock flywheeler, a modified Springer, a modified flywheeler, and that's going to be tedious. And yeah, afterwards I will compile it all and give you the data and you can see what you can see. Yeah, let's do this. Right, for stock flywheel, we have a Hera. Let's see what we get. For Modified Springer, I'm going to be running the Rival Burn. I figured it was suitably powerful. I believe this is the one I acquired from Brett. Hopefully, it will survive 80 rounds. Here we go. And for modded flywheel, we of course have my minimized hero running on a 3S. Here we go. Right, let's take a look at the math, the numbers, the FIPS. Alright, now for the part that you're all looking forward to, I'm sure, spreadsheet results. So looking at the FIPS, you can see at the end of each round I showed what the averages were from highest to lowest, and I separated out HH Queen because they are so much different than the others that I believe they represent a statistical outlier, and I chose to separate them so as to not distract from the results of the other ammo types. So if we look at our stock Springer numbers, Dart Zone came in at top at 97.8, E-Kind came in at 87.6 at the bottom, which is a variance of 10.2, which isn't all that much. There were ones, Little Valentine and XC Source were 0.1 FPS different, which is a negligible difference. HH Queen came in at 76.1, so a full 11.5 FPS lower than the lowest of the others, which is why, like I said, I'm separating it out. All of the other ones were comparable. I mean, you wouldn't be able to really tell the difference unless you were firing thousands of rounds and doing all the math. Stock Flywheel, Little Valentine came in at top at 88.2, where Headshot came at the bottom at 83.0, which is a difference of 5.2, which again is basically negligible given the sample size that I had. But we once again had two that were within 0.1 of each other. XC Source and Regamodal came in at 0.1 difference. HH Queen's coming in at 68.5, so 15 lower than the next lowest one. So again, very much an outlier. Rival Burn, Dart Zone came in at top again. So apparently Dart Zone works really good in Springers. It came in at 142, and E-Kind came at the lowest at 128.2. So those two were top and bottom again for Springers. But again, that's only a difference of 13.8. So from highest to lowest wasn't that much of a difference in really. And again, there were a couple that were within 0.1 of each other. Nerf and Little Valentine were within 0.1 of each other. So all of the other ones were in the mid-130s, very, very comparable. HH Queen came in at 119.3, so another one that's a full 10 below the lowest of the others. Finally, we get to the 3S Hero, which is where it gets interesting. E-Kind came in at top this time. It was bottom for two others, but now it came in at top at 127.8, and Dart Zone finally came in at the bottom at 119.5. So, but again, that's only a variance of 8.3. So not a whole lot of difference. And then HH Queen, this is the really interesting one, came in at an average of 170.3. So more than 40 higher than the highest one. And you would think that that would be interesting. Well, it's definitely interesting, but the lightweight is why it's going so fast, but we will see what that does when we actually go to do firing and accuracy. Just looking at FPS doesn't tell you a whole lot. But it does give us something, a solid number that we can compare against. And they're all pretty much the same, or close enough to not make any difference. But it's interesting that some of them are more consistent. Nerf is typically in the top, was always in the top 3. Dart Zone was in the top 3 for 3 of them, but was bottom for another one. Little Valentine is up and down. They bounce around. So And that's because they're all so similar, is what it comes down to, is that we're looking at a couple of FPS here, sometimes 0.1 FPS. So there wasn't one that absolutely jumped out and said, I am definitely the best and you should only use me. Dart Zone did come out on top on Springers, but not by much. And this, as I said, is not an exhaustive study. It was 10-round average through 4 different blasters. If you really wanted to try to truly determine which one was slightly better than the others, you would need to fire thousands of rounds through dozens of blasters and then collate that data. I wanted to see if we could observe one that was unquestionably way better than the others, and there isn't one based on FPS. There is definitely one that is way worse than the others, or possibly absurdly better, but again, we'll see how that actually plays out. Now let's go take him to the range, or outside, and try to hit a target with him and see how well that works out. Hopefully that will give us a more useful observation, though perhaps not. Let's go. Alright, we are now outside aiming at my dart catching net at a range of 30 feet. I'm not using the range in the forest because I suspect this will be a lot easier to clean up than hunting rival rounds through the woods. Hopefully. Now, this is the accuracy test, which, again, this isn't exactly scientifically exhaustive because this requires me to be accurate as well as the ammo, but hopefully we'll be able to determine if any of the various ammo types are far superior or far worse than any of the others, or if they all are just kind of roughly the same. So, let's see how many I can get in that net. Alright, let's talk results. I apologize for the noise in the background. My neighbor is mowing his lawn, as is his wont. I didn't get any in the dart catcher for the Rajamudal, but they were very consistent. There weren't any that flew wildly off course. Headshot was quite excellent. I got 3 in. This is the one that's kind of deceptive because while I didn't get any in with the dart zone, I did feel that they were actually the most consistent. They all missed by about an inch high or to one side. Rival was, or actual Nerf ammo was also quite good. I don't know of anyone who claims that rival ammo isn't good, it's just that it's the most expensive. The HH Queen, I actually managed to get one in, but I had to loft them in. They're so light that they could barely even reach out to that range, and even when they did, they were going very, very slowly. No surprise there. XC Source was also quite excellent. I got 4 in with that. Good grouping. The E-Kind, while I did get 4 in, which is tied for the most with Rival and XC Source, the ones that missed were by far the least consistent. They veered actually quite wildly off when they did miss. When they flew true, they flew very true. And then finally, Little Valentine was about the same as the other ones. I only got 1 in, but they were also very, very close. A couple of them just drifted a little high. I don't remember if they were on the lighter side or not, but the hop-up seemed to take them just a little bit higher than the other ones were, though that could entirely just be my aim being off by the end of it, so who knows. Again, nothing stood out as significantly better than any of the others, but HH Queen was definitely way inferior. Alright, next blaster. Let's go with a stock flywheeler. Alright, with the stock Hera, the accuracy was significantly better for most ammo types. Starting here, we had 3 in, 3 in, 4 in, 8. Alright, so with the stock Hera, we had considerably better accuracy. Most of them, if they missed, they were either high or low rather than being side to side. They were all more or less straight in line. The Regamudal, I managed to get 3 in. Headshot, I got 3 in. Dart Zone, I got 4. Rival, I got 7. No surprise here, I was not able to get a single thing in with the HH Queen. the hop-up is ridiculous with the really light ammo. I was aiming at the base of the target, and the hop-up was still carrying them over the top. The XC source was very, very reliable. I was actually very impressed with how that one came out. The glow-in-the-dark E-kind, again, had issues. It was by far the least consistent so far, and I suspect, once again, that has to do with the glow-in-the-dark coating, so that's a potential trade-off. If you really want glow-in-the-dark rounds, well, they've got them, but there's an issue. And then the little Valentines were lasers. It was actually impressive. They were very, very accurate, which was... I wasn't expecting that one. I was expecting them to be a little bit less accurate, but I got 7 in the basket. So, all right. Let's try that rival burn and see what happens. Alright, well, accuracy was down there, which isn't surprising because Rival does not play well at those velocities, but I was able to get 3 of the Rigamodal, none of the headshot, 1 dart zone, 6 Rival, none of the HH Queen, 2 of the XC Blue, 2 of the E-kind, and 3 of the Little Valentine. They all did fire fairly well, but hop-up at that velocity gets weird. Obviously, you can tweak the hop-up on a rival burn, and that might help, but again, they were all fairly comfortable, except for that one, which was just tragic. This was the first time that I lost rounds. I lost 1 gray one and 1 of the blue ones that I think actually shot behind the door, hit the wall and bounced sideways into the door of the shop, and wasn't able to locate it in there. And then the gray ones are probably the hardest to see, so I'm not surprised. One of them, I'm probably standing on it thinking it's a rock. Alright, last thing we have is the modified Hera, and we'll see what happens at high velocity flywheel. I believe this was easily the best results I've had so far. We got 5 of the Rigamodal, 3 headshot, 6 dart zone, 6 rival, and I actually managed to get 2 of the HH Queen, which was impressive because when I fired it level, it actually nearly went over the roof of the shop. I was aiming about 10 feet in front of the target on the ground, and I managed to arc 2 up into it. So, yeah, we'll talk about them. 6 of the XC Source, and I did actually find the missing one from last round. 6 of the glow-in-the-dark E-kinds. They actually flew remarkably true, if a bit slow. And then 4 of the Little Valentines. I am still missing one of those. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. So, yeah, high performance flywheel. They did pretty good. Again, the ones that missed generally missed either a little high or a little low, depending on hop-up. So, yeah. All right. I'm gonna toy with doing range. I might not do every blaster type. I might just pick one and just kind of see how they fly, because I don't want to be picking darts out of the grass. Alright, we'll see how long my camera's battery will last. I'm down to like 25 minutes. And we're going to be doing long range here in this field. Hopefully I don't lose any ammo. I did find that AWOL gray one, so I currently am not missing any ammo. But as you might be able to tell, this field has not been fully mown. It's a little bit tall. We'll see how that works. Most of these rounds are vibrant enough you'll be able to see them. And the ones that are easy to lose, I'm not too worried about. Alright, let's see what we get. Alright, let's run our tape measure out there and see what we got. Unsurprisingly, coming in well short of everything else, at 40 feet we have our HH Queen light rounds. They just don't have the mass to carry on. Here at the rest of the grouping, the farthest one looks to be at about 88. Most of the group seems to be here at around 75, and it seems to be they're all exactly the same. All the other rounds dropped here, so none flew way farther or way more accurate. Blue seems to be in a particularly good group. I have been well impressed with the XC Source, which is nice because it's got an X in the name. All right, final thoughts. I'm not going to do all of the different blasters because it's just going to be a nightmare to clean up, and I don't want to. And I'm pretty sure the results are going to be the same. I will, however, do one quick demonstration of that really light ammo on 3S. All right, I have no idea how well this is going to show up on camera, but we have the HH Queen rounds in my 3S Terra. Let's see if you can see what happens. They're shooting straight up after about 40 feet. They just shoot straight into the air. I've demonstrated this before. That's hilarious. Let's go see how far they actually went. But the grouping wasn't bad, and they're coming in at about 50 feet. But that's just silly. For those of you who haven't seen the video where I've viewed this ammo before, yes, this does mean you can, in fact, shoot around a 90-degree corner. And it's actually quite hilarious. I recommend going and watching that video. So, all right, back to the table. Let's talk. Right, so after all that math, all those numbers, all that firing, all that cleanup, what are the results? Is there one particular rival ammo type available on Amazon that I believe is head and shoulders above the rest? No. There were some that maybe they performed a little bit better, a couple of FPS here, a little bit more accurate there, but nothing that stood out to the point where I would say, this is the best, you should definitely use this. There just wasn't one that was that good, based on, in my opinion, on the numbers and on my observations. I was actually very pleased with the XC Source. The Dart Zone ammo also, of course, was very good, and actually the original Rival was good. The problem is, of course, that's very expensive. There was, of course, one that was significantly worse than the rest, and that was the green HH Queen rounds. And I knew that was going to be the case going in, because I have reviewed this kind of rival ammo before and found it to be very, very wanting. Though it does perform a nifty gimmick, which is the shooting around corners. And yes, when I do the K26 episode on the rival curve, which should be the next episode of K26, I will be testing it with this ammo as well as regular ammo, just to see how much more of a difference this stuff makes, because that could be interesting. But yeah, this stuff is less than half the weight of regular rival rounds, so from a high-performance flywheel, they absolutely scream out of the barrel, and then because they're so light, they just drift to a stop and fall down. The hop-up also will make them do a 90-degree turn, which, if you're trying to do that, is kind of neat. If you're not, it's bad. The quality control is also atrocious. I don't know how well you can tell there, but these two halves don't even align. They're off by, I don't know, maybe a half a millimeter, but it's very noticeable. They also have far fewer dimples. And that is actually how you can tell them apart when you're shopping online, trying to decide which rounds to get. If they look like they have half the number of dimples as you would expect, don't get it. That's the cheap garbage stuff. You can generally you can tell in the pictures which ones are the really nasty foam. It's fairly clear, but you do have to check. And sometimes they are not using the pictures of the stuff they actually send you, which is, of course, scummy of them. But if the rival rounds are anywhere less than about $14 for 100, it's probably this stuff. That's just the nature of it. Now, if you really want stuff that'll shoot around corners or to do trick shots with or whatever else, you might want this stuff. And so, yeah, that's why I chose to review it, so that you could see the difference and shop accordingly. But the other 7 types, all of the links for all of these will be down in the description. But they all came about to be comparable. I wouldn't have any problem running any of these ammos. Now, I have gotten bad ammo in the past that I assumed was the factory reject stuff, where it was either way too squishy or way too hard, and it would either barely perform at all or it would jam in your blaster because it was so rigid. It was like firing an FVJ through a high crush cage. But none of these had that problem. I would be perfectly happy recommending any of the other 7 ammo types to anybody. Obviously, some of them are considerably cheaper, and that is quite nice. And yeah, the regular Rival was way more expensive, but Headshot and XC Source and the Little Valentine and the E-Kind all came in on the lower end of the price. And that's actually really nice because they are just as good. So that is my conclusion on the Rival ammo currently available on Amazon. If you're curious why I didn't cover Proton rounds, it's because they're not currently available on Amazon. They're not actually currently available at all. They're out of stock. And I didn't want to show an ammo that wasn't available because, I mean, if it turned out to be the best and then you just can't get it, that doesn't do anybody any good. So all of these are currently available, or they were available when I ordered them. Who knows if they'll be available by the time you watch this video. Who knows? But there you have it. That's my my take on all of this. Now I think I'm going to dump every single one of these rounds into a Proton pack and see what happens. Gimme. Right, going for a tank dump. Got 810 rounds back there. Let's see what happens.
Shut up and sit down.
You can see whenever any of the green ones come out, if they don't go anywhere near where they're supposed to go. Deliberate attempt on my life. That was entirely too much fun. It has, of course, made a horrible mess. I knew I wasn't going to catch them all. I particularly knew that the HH Queen green rounds were going to go all over the place. And they did. So, I'm going to get my garden weasel. Garden weasel, get yourself one.